which will have catastrophic consequences for the whole generation. They want the Kenya Kwanza administration to do away with the new university funding model, as well as other reforms that they have been stayed by the courts. Here is Kamau Mwangi with that report.
From industrial action by teachers and lecturers in recent weeks and months, a university funding model that seems to disadvantage those that it is meant to help, and inconsistencies in actualizing the junior secondary education, opposition leaders are up in arms over a sector that seems to be in crisis. The never-ending issues in the sector that receives the largest chunk of the country's budget, perhaps what has led to NA Kenya Party leader Martha Karua and fellow opposition leaders to call out the Ruto administration, accusing the president of knowingly crippling the sector.
Without providing the basics for university, which is accommodation, tuition, and meals, you have not given access to the poor, because any one of those three can make them drop out. Without providing the capitation for secondary, most students will be out.
What results is the country harvesting from the 2 years of their government? An inept hodgepodge of half-baked reform measures, an intelligent imposition of reforms without supporting infrastructure, personnel and resources, a vengeful rebuttal of evident failure, an attempt to use blackmail and brinkmanship to confront those telling them their efforts are more hurtful than the problem they set out to resolve.
The opposition leaders say the Kenya Kwanza administration has enough resources to solve what ails the education sector, accusing the president of deliberately choosing to cause confusion.
There will be very serious and enduring consequences soon. There must be a convergence. The grievances by the students, by the academic and non-teaching staff, by the management, by parents.
This country actually has been known on the continent as one of the countries with a very robust educational system. So if measures are taken to dilute that, it means that even on the African continent, we are lowering our esteem.
We should now be aiming to freeing education from kindergarten, that is ECD, to university level. Instead, Ruto and his administration have behaved the way locusts behave when they descend on greenery. They consume everything and leave nothing.
They condemn the haste with which reforms in the sector are being undertaken, saying there is poor planning by the Kenya Kwanza regime to implement changes in the sector without proper preparation.
The government of President Ruto is playing with fire in a systematic destruction of education at all levels in the country. Through a cacophony of ill-conceived reform, betrayal of election promises, contempt of court rulings, intimidation of critics as its modus operandi in public universities, disregard of CBS it has entered with lecturers, and an arrogant disregard of the extreme impact of its actions and omissions on learners from poor backgrounds, this government is driving learning to the brink of collapse.
Which university is working? Is it Tigaton? Is it Kenyatta University? Is it Moi University? Is it University of Nairobi? None is working. Despite Ruto going to fish for chancellors from Europe.
Kamau Mwangi, Citizen TV.
Police in the county of Nakuru have detained a 23-year-old man on suspicion of